My name is Mitch Benner, and we started this podcast to remove the stigma around sobriety from addiction.
My name is Aaron Nelson. Through our stories and the stories of our guests, we hope to help you find a new path.
All right, guys, we are back at Shattered Darkness. I just want to say again, thank you guys for everything, the support, listening. Obviously, right now we're trying to really boost our numbers on YouTube. If we can get to 500 followers on YouTube and a certain amount of hours of our content played, then we can start to get sponsorships through YouTube and things like that. So that's the biggest platform for us right now. So if you guys are enjoying these episodes, finding value in this stuff, please go on our YouTube page. It's Shattered Darkness Podcast on YouTube, and just hit the subscribe button for us. And then obviously like, shares, comments, all the good stuff on social media too. So today we have an awesome guest. Her name is Andrea Adfield. And honestly, I just met Andrea through a good friend of mine. And I don't know a lot about her, but we're about to know everything about her. So Andrea, I just want to say thanks for being here today. I appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah? You ready to tell your story?
I'm ready to tell it.
All right. Well, I'll let you kind of take over and just start wherever you want.
All right. So I'm Andrea. I'm an alcoholic. I was born in Denmark, actually. And so I grew up, so I was a total accident child. My mom was a single mom and somehow got connected with my dad, who was a raging alcoholic. And my mom actually immigrated to the United States when she was 10. Yeah, and so it's kind of relevant because it really impacted the way I was raised. My mom was born right after World War II
How old are you,
in
Mom?
Denmark. I'm 48. Well, I mean, 1948. So she's almost, she just turned 77.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was almost 40 when she got pregnant with me. Total accident. And she had immigrated here when she was 10 on a ship with her dad and her younger brother. My grandma and her older sister stayed there. So their family just literally split in half. Wow. And they didn't have cell phones or email or anything like that. So
if that would have been in what, 1958?
Nobody spoke English. They just came here. And
why?
I don't know. She is very closed off about this, I guess, to have a better life. But the way that it happened, I still don't understand it. Like, how do you just half your family goes across the ocean and half of it stays here in that day and age? I mean, you couldn't just get a plane ticket and go back and forth and visit, right? Seriously. So she didn't see her mom.
There must have been something that happened.
I know. And I've asked her about it, and this is why it's relevant. She's very, it doesn't matter that was then, this is now. I've moved past that, right? And I don't want to bring it back up. And so they kind of moved around a lot. So she went to like 10, 15, 20 different schools through her growing up. They started in Canada, came all the way over through down California, and she ended up in like LA. And then she went to college and got a teaching degree. And then when she was, I don't know, in her 20s or whatever, she got in her Volkswagen van and drove across, just left. And she ended up in Southwest Colorado, down by the Four Corners. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
And it's very rural, very reservation, very just country. Cortez, Colorado.
I used to build cell phone towers. So we were always out in the middle.
They don't have cell phone towers there.
They should. We built some there.
Well, maybe they do now. No, I'm just kidding. And so she was just single. She lived out in the country. She worked as a teacher. She worked as a waitress. She just made her own way. She was very independent, still is to this day. I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to get through life by myself, and nothing is going to impact me, right? Like everything gets shut out, no emotion, nothing. And then somehow she ends up pregnant. And so that kind of threw a big wrench in her life, right? And so she went back to Denmark because that's where she had family. Yeah. And so I guess over the years they stayed in touch, but they never had a close relationship like her and her mom, my grandma. So I was born over there, and then, but she already lived here. So I was a US citizen by birth. And Denmark doesn't allow dual citizenship. So, or they don't, because they're like a small, tiny country. And then, so we came back and when I was about 1, and I was raised by her, single mom, only child.
Did you ever know your dad as a kid?
Yes. So as a kid, my mom decided to like that she wanted him to be in my life, which she'll still say to this day that that was like one of her biggest regrets and mistakes. Which whatever. I mean, it's like you try to blame something on one thing, right? Like it is what it is. But so he didn't want any part of it. So he said it wasn't his, that I wasn't his and all of that. And so she went through the paternity test process and then in like over the next couple of years, it turned into an every other weekend I was at my dad's house. And so I was spent the majority of time with my mom, and I was like unhealthily, seriously attached to her. Like I couldn't, because it was just the two of us. And she kind of, like in my views looking back, she loved this, right? Like she loved that I couldn't do anything on my own, that I needed her to survive. Like I couldn't. So like I have these just like burned into my soul of like me having to go to my dad's house on the weekend as like a 3-year-old and like clinging to her, like tears, ripping hair, like just sobbing every single time. It was like the worst thing ever. And so like on Friday evenings when he'd come to get me, it was like all day Friday, you know, I was just a wreck. And she, instead of like helping me work through that in a way, she kind of like fed into it and like, you know, this is terrible. This is awful. I hate this. And so it was like this mutual misery of like me needing her and not knowing at all how to handle this at all. And I think that is the time of my life when I just put my heart in a box and shut the world out. So I was about 3 or 4 years old. Yeah. I just, because
I remember being 3.
I remember that feeling. Yeah. I remember the feeling of
trauma, right? Like
of being alone.
Yeah.
And having no control over anything and just being forced to and it wasn't necessarily that it was bad at my dad's house. I had it like ingrained in my head that that's not what was supposed to be happening, and I didn't want to. And so at my dad's house, he had actually gotten married while we were gone. And so he was married. So I had a stepmom and she had a son. So I had an older stepbrother, and then they ended up having my little sister together. So then I was the middle child over there. And I've always like equated it to being like a houseplant. Like I just was there. I wasn't, you know, they didn't appreciate that I came over there sobbing and not wanting to be there and just like a wreck and I cried probably the whole time I was there, you know, like I just didn't want to be there. And they didn't, my stepmom was pretty good about it. She, you know, tried to give me some love, but my dad wasn't that type of person. Yeah. And he would show up on Fridays with a beer in one hand and a cigarette in the other. And my mom would get pissed, like so pissed. He drank probably a 30-pack a day. Jeez. Every day, just watching NASCAR and smoking cigarettes.
I know exactly what kind of type you're talking about.
Yeah. And so, and he wasn't like he beat the shit out of my brother a couple of times. And like, there was some questionable thing. Like we played like strip poker as a family, and like we had a hot tub where everyone was just naked. Like there was some questionable activities going on, but it was also the 90s. And I mean, like nothing significant ever happened. And so looking back on it, like, I'm like, I wonder why I hated it so much. It was actually kind of fun. Like we, you know, like at my mom's house, it was very strict and I was very rigid. Yeah. We didn't have a TV. We were poor, right? She was a teacher, a single mom teacher. We were super poor. And so it was just her and I always had supervision, you know, like I never did anything alone. Yeah. At my dad's house, he lived out in the country and we would just go for the whole day. The three of us, we'd just go wander around and like explore and like build forts and like chop down trees and find frogs and snakes and just all like we were kids, right? And so looking back on it, I'm like, I wonder why I caused such a big fuss about this.
The dependency thing on your mom.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a real thing.
And it played into my life hard. Like still to this day, we have struggled with codependency so much. Like it was such a sick codependent relationship.
Do you think that she did that just because of like, she was trying to protect you?
A little bit, but also I didn't get that feeling, right? Okay. Like I learned also that she couldn't protect me and that she didn't protect me. And so again, I was like, I'm alone, right? Like I think a lot of it was actually this sense of control that she's always tried to have over her life, right? Like if she can control what happens next, then she controls like she's in control.
Yeah.
And so she enjoys being in control because she doesn't like.
It's kind of sucks too. Like I think about this sometimes, like we don't really get a lot of our parents' generation's backstory.
Yeah.
Which I feel like would answer a lot of questions.
And why they are like, not necessarily why they are, but like how it makes, like, once you can understand why a person acts a certain way, or like at least put it into like, you're like, oh, now I see, like now I understand. And then I don't take it the same way. Like now I can see you for who you are.
It brings compassion into it, right? Because then you can be like, oh my gosh, I can identify to these parts of your story.
Exactly.
Like, because my dad and I are very similar, like personality wise. Yeah. But I don't really know much about like his background. Yeah. A little bit. And I think that would bring a level of compassion and understanding.
Well, in that community piece too, like you feel like you belong, sort of. Like I never felt like I belonged anywhere ever. Yeah. And so also I grew up being bilingual. So my mom, we only spoke Danish at home. And so I learned both languages at the same time. And as I got a little bit older, I was also really smart as a kid. And so I skipped first grade because my mom was a teacher, right? And that's all we did at home. We like read and she taught me everything that she knew. And so I was kind of like this little child, and in her eyes, like, I'm going to make her amazing.
A genius.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I skipped first grade. I was this awkward little Danish child. And by the time I got to school, like I had never had a play date. I didn't have any friends. I was very isolated. Yeah. And we also kind of lived out in the country. I mean, I slept with my mom till I was like 11. Really? Like I literally it was just her and I was in a bubble, like of the world. And so by the time I got to school, I didn't really, I was like,
you didn't know how to assimilate.
I didn't know what to do. Yeah. And I felt it. I was like a really anxious kid, like super just anxious all the time. Like, and so in elementary school, I really started to feel that and like really start feeling like, what are you thinking about me right now? And how can I raise that up? Right. Like, and so I thought it was by being the smartest person in the class all the time. Like I had to be the best. So I got this like perfectionist trait hard.
So do you feel like that you had to outperform everybody to be noticed?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I didn't really want to be noticed. I was painfully shy. But I wanted everyone to know that I existed, I guess, like.
Well, and it's weird too, because I look at your story, right? Like kind of the codependency with your mom, kind of an awkward situation that you don't really fit into with your dad and your stepmom. Mm-hmm. And then you skip first grade.
Yeah.
So now you're super young.
Yes.
In a class of people that are older than you.
And that had been sort of socialized, right?
Exactly. And they probably knew each other.
So I did go to kindergarten. And then I went to first grade. But like, yeah, it was a culture shock is what it was. I had no idea how to interact with children. Yeah. I didn't. And so, yeah, I was awkward, shy, lonely, scared. I was terrified all the time just because I was so anxious. And yeah, I had to be the best. And I was really hard on myself if I felt like I wasn't, which doesn't even make any sense. Like if you're like 6 or 7, I mean, like I put so much pressure on myself all the time.
That's crazy.
So yeah, through elementary school was fine. I actually really liked school, because I was smart. And so like I was good at it. Yeah. And I learned quickly like how to fit in, right? Like I became like this follower basically. I was like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. Okay. Like I'll do that. And then in 5th grade, I started to realize that like people had best friends and that there was like groups.
Yeah. Like cliques almost.
And people had these like lifelong best friends, and their families were friends and they hung out. And I was super jealous of that. I really wanted a best friend. I wanted that like ride or die person. Totally. And I never had that. And I didn't know how to get it. I thought, I don't know. Like I always felt left out. Like I always felt like the third wheel, like I was following people around because I literally was. And then there was this other weird incident that happened in 5th grade that like traumatized me a little bit. It was like these kids were making fun of this girl. And so then I also joined into making fun of this girl. And it was something about like you could see her underwear through her leggings. And then like they flipped it on me and started like making fun of me for looking at her underwear. And it literally traumatized me for the rest of my childhood because it wasn't necessary. I mean, it was bullying. It was bullying on everyone's part, but like it felt again, it was like that feeling that was already inside me that I was like over here, like an outsider. Yeah, it amplified it. And that was when I really just decided, like, I don't know, I felt like a loner and a loser, and like that feeling was deep in there, you know? And so then let's see. So I also I played a little bit of soccer, and just my mom didn't really put me in stuff. She was busy, right? I spent my life at school. She was a teacher.
She was there.
Yeah, she taught at the school where I went.
You probably went to and from school with her.
Yep.
So I was just constantly with your mom.
Yeah. And then our house got broken into, and there was like an assault that happened when I was in I don't know how old I was, but it was really scary because it was just her and I, right? And that really, I think, it impacted her, obviously. I didn't really understand it at the time, but like that more closed her off from the world, right? Like there's like a trust issue of like, I am all alone in this, you know, which bled into my own self.
Well, and that's the thing, like your parents tend to project their own fears, right? And insecurities and things like that onto you. And especially in a situation like that where there's, you know, a massive amount of codependency.
Yes. And so she had this plan for me. I don't really know what it was besides like perfection. Like, you will be on this path and you will go this way and you will do these things in your life. And then I got to middle school, and I was like teacher's pet nerd, like, and I started to, in middle school, I started to realize kids had TV, kids had video games, kids were wearing, you know, that whatever was on trend at that time.
Right, like brand name stuff.
Yeah, brand name stuff. And I didn't have any of that stuff. And so again, I just felt more and more different, awkward, outsider. You know, MTV was huge at the time, and like Mario Kart had come out, and they would like talk about it. And I had no idea what any of that stuff was. We didn't even own a TV. And so we moved into town, which was good, on my 7th birthday, actually. And so I guess I was still in elementary school, and then we were in town, and that was another culture shock because I had lived out in the country my whole life, and I didn't know about like neighbors or like other kids still. But then when I got to middle school, I joined band. So then I was a band nerd.
What'd you play?
I played the saxophone.
Nice, dude. Me too.
Yeah, I played a lot of things. I really liked band. I did band all through high school.
That's like one of my biggest regrets is quitting that.
Yeah.
I was really good at the saxophone when I was in probably 6th and 7th grade.
So I did that. I was like the drum major in the middle school band and did the little pole thing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I played the French horn. I played the oboe. I played the piano. I played the saxophone.
Awesome. Are you still music?
I like it, but no, I don't play. No. Actually, I sort of started, along with a lot of things, I started to hate it because it was forced on me, you know? Yeah. So I started to rebel against the things that were placed on me that said, you will do this because that's what you will do. But in middle school, I just became, resentment is like another big thing for me. I started to like dislike and be upset at these people, these other friends that like were there because they were wearing nice clothes and they had all these things, and I was super jealous. And they had friends and I didn't know how to do that. And so middle school was the time that I kind of started to see things differently, and I kind of got mad at her. I started to get like mad at her for putting me in this box.
I was going to ask you, did you ever like tell your mom or express these things to your mom?
Yeah. And so she sees it very differently. Yeah. We've done a lot of like therapy and stuff over the past couple of years. But yeah, I felt like she had placed me in this bubble. But also, like, as a kid, we traveled a ton. Like, I've been all over the world. I've been to every continent except for Antarctica. And so, like, during the summer, we would just pack up the car and go for the whole summer.
That's
just
cool.
Like camp and just.
But it was just you and your mom.
Yeah, it was just us. And so this continued through middle school, and she still tried to do it in high school. So then as I got older, like, I didn't have summers to be a kid and like do kid stuff, go to the pool, hang out with friends that I didn't have really anyways. But, you know, like, I wanted that so badly and I didn't have it. And so she sees it as like, well, I took you to, you know, Australia and like I took you to Italy.
Well, and she's again projecting all the things that she wants.
Yeah. And she's placing my path, right?
That's
Like
really
this
interesting.
is what we're going to do. And,
Yeah.
and you don't have an opinion. You don't get a say, you know?
That's really interesting because that's like, I would be very curious to understand her story, because there's something in there that was like,
Some
she didn't get that
real
opportunity,
pain. Yeah.
to go down that path.
Yes.
And so she was going to make damn sure that you did.
Yes, exactly. Yep. And so by the time then I got to high school. And my freshman year, I didn't know about alcohol. I mean, I knew about alcohol because she had made sure that I knew that my dad was an alcoholic, and alcohol is terrible and bad and everything is bad. And so, but I didn't know that it was like a thing that you could do. I didn't know about like weed or cigarettes. I didn't know a cuss word. I didn't know about boys. Like I just was so sheltered.
Yeah.
And so I got to high school, and I remember going to band camp my freshman year. So, and I was 13 because I skipped a grade.
Yeah.
So I was only 13 when I went to high school. And I was like, what is happening? I was, another culture shock here. I was like, what is happening? Those guys are like partying. Like, what is that? I don't know what that is. And so then I started hanging out with some older guys that were on the drum line that I was like, and then I was like, okay, this is awesome. I like this because I liked the attention. Right. And they smoked weed. And so I smoked weed before I did anything else when I was 13. And
I already know what Aaron would say if he was here. God damn, weed is a gateway drug.
Oh, I know. That's what, and so, yeah. But, we had that weed that was like clumpy and brown and like had the seeds in it the size of like your eyeball. And it was like, it was basically sagebrush, but we didn't know any different at the time. And I didn't really care any sort of way for it. I liked that. I thought it made me cool, right? Like people wanted to hang out with me and smoke weed. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I started smoking weed like every day, and then it escalated. I started smoking weed all day, every day. And I just like turned into a pothead.
Did your mom have any idea?
She did after a while. And then I went to a friend's house one night, and we stole some Mike's Hard Lemonades from her parents. And so I was 13 still. And oh my God, I loved it.
It takes all that shit away.
I loved it so much. It's crazy because it wasn't like we didn't get wasted or anything like that. But that sense of calm, I never had it ever. And I didn't know that I didn't know it existed or that it was something but I like that anxiety gone, that stress, worry, pressure, all of it. Anger, all of it was gone. And we just laughed and giggled, and we're just we were little kids,
You're finally, for the first time in your life, actually having a good time.
I was free. Yeah. And I felt free instead of trapped. I had always kind of grew up feeling like trapped. And oh my God, I was in love with it. I totally married it. And that became my identity. I took it and ran with it. Because also then people liked me for this identity, right? Because I was down for whatever. I would never be like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea, or that doesn't sound very safe. I was like,
let's do it.
Fuck it. Let's go. Who's down? I was crazy. I went from here to over there, and I was gone pretty quickly. Yeah. I'd say, I had the alcoholic brain from the second I was born, honestly, because I didn't know how to deal with any of the shit. Emotions were never a thing. It was never how are you feeling or what's going on for you right now? It was very rigid and
did you ever try to bring that stuff up, your emotions and things like that? No,
because I didn't know what they were. All I knew is I didn't like them, and they didn't serve any purpose for me. They didn't serve any purpose for me. I didn't know how to deal with them because I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what they were coming from or how to let them be there and still function. Right.
Is your dad still in the picture?
So he died in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, okay. Yeah. Also in middle school, we finally got that lifted away because he hadn't paid child support in years. And so when I turned 12, I was able to choose. And so I quit going there. Yeah.
And did you really ever have a relationship with him much after that?
No. Yeah. And I never really did before that either. Yeah. I always really kind of liked my dad just because he was the mellow side of my mom's
Crazy.
Exactly. And he just was chill and easygoing and like kind of funny. And it turns out, right, like we're basically the same person in a way, you know? So.
And that's why I'm actually learning this right now. Like I went through some psychiatry stuff the other day and, you know, they're like giving me all these meds and stuff, but she was telling me, she's like, you have three drugs that balance your brain. Dopamine, serotonin, and I can't remember what the other one is. But like, she's like, basically from birth, your brain produces way too much dopamine.
Right.
Which creates anxiety, stress. And then you put yourself in a situation like that. Like I can very much identify with that because when I was younger, we had friends and stuff, but I was always ridiculed and teased and bullied.
It wasn't to the extent, like, it doesn't really matter. It's how you take it, right? Like how you feel it.
Yep, exactly.
And it only took like those couple of times for me to be like, ooh, I don't like that.
See, and that's an important thing that I actually want to highlight to our listeners, right? Like the trauma in your life was in the sense of like, let's put it on a scale, right? Like you're probably on the lower end of it, but for sure. The way that you received it,
it was big for me.
Yeah, it affected the way. So that's what I like trying to highlight. Like trauma doesn't have to be like
some significant.
Yeah, like I was sexually abused for 10 years. Yeah. I was beaten as a child. Like it can be a lot of different things, and it can be, you know, just like you said, it's just feeding into that negative mindset of yourself.
And if you don't have some sort of a, I don't know, like things happen the way they do, but like I didn't have a role model or someone to guide me through this. It was more someone telling me what you're doing is wrong. You need to be over here instead. Get over here, get over here, get over here. Not like, not like, what's going on? Like, let's work through this. Instead, it was like, you are fucking up your life. You're going to end up dead in a ditch. You're going to have 12 kids by the time you're 16. Like, and it was, that's, you know, like that was that was what I was getting from my mom, you know? So when I finally did get caught, who knows? I don't even remember what happened, but I mean, I got caught bunches of times. She would start random drug testing me. She would threaten to have me sent to one of those places where they come get you in the middle of the night.
Dude, I just watched that documentary.
Yeah. I know, I haven't actually watched that one yet, but I know what you're talking about. She had brochures for that laying out all over the table. She had been on phone calls with them, and she was stressed to the max. So everything was bad, right? Like none of the things, she couldn't see that I was still a straight A student. Like I graduated high school with a no. I was still in band. I was in National Honor Society. I was in basketball and soccer. I was in, you know, like I did all of these things. And so there was still potential there for me to get, you know, some love. That's what I didn't get. Instead, I got punishment, right? Like I was punished for the bad things, which,
gosh, dude,
I get it, but also like it didn't help. It didn't help at all.
Like there's no understanding in that, right? Like as a child. And I think that I can really identify to that too, because that's something that like we really try to work on with our children.
Yes.
You know, is like, you can always ask me why.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can always ask me questions like, why are you making me do this?
Yeah.
Why, you know, and I'll explain it to you, you know? But again, maybe it was a generational thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, and obviously our parents came out of the days of like reefer madness and like all that crazy shit, you know? So I think there was a lot of fear in that generation, you know?
Yeah.
I really wish I could know your mom's backstory.
I know. I'll let you know if I ever find it out. Because,
so high school, you start drinking 13 and that probably progresses all the way through.
I was thinking about it. It's like by the time I got my driver's license, I had done I would do anything you put in front of me. If you offered it to me, I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Meth was pretty big down there in that time. And I had a couple friends that I watched just fucking like destroy their whole life. And so I'm glad that I never got sucked into that. Dude, because
I get that too. I was the same way. Like that was one thing I just couldn't do.
I did it, but like I loved that kind of stuff. Yeah. But like, I don't know. So something, right, inside me was like, no, we're not going that direction. So I'm glad that happened. But pretty much anything else, I was like, yes, let's do it. And the other thing about my mom during this time is I hated her. I hated her guts, right? Because she was getting in the way of what I wanted to do. And so it was like, again, that resentment piece. I didn't trust her. I didn't want anything to do with her. So I was, again, alone, right?
Yeah.
Like I had no one. And so, and I liked it at the time because I was like, fuck you, I do what I want.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And so, and I did, and I would date guys that sold drugs just because that was nice for me, you know, like that worked out real well. And I would, dude, we would get alcohol by picking up the homeless people who lived in the park and giving them rides. That's how we got alcohol, and it worked and it was amazing.
I remember we used to go up to the mountains in Dillon and we'd just sit outside the liquor store.
Yeah.
And then we'd be like, hey, dude, if you buy us like a bottle of whatever, we'll, give you $20.
Yeah.
It was crazy how many people were like, yeah, all right.
Oh yeah, they're sure they want a ride or a sandwich or something. Like, and like here you have like two girls like giving you a ride. Like what? I don't know. It's just crazy.
That is crazy.
Drinking and driving, like yeah. There was a lot of bad shit, like we didn't care. There was a lake right there. We were always out on the lake on a boat with tons of drunk teenagers. Like there was one, like these boats crashed into each other and like one of them was a pontoon. So it started to sink and everyone's wasted on the lake. Like we're like trying to pull the pontoon boat as it's sinking with the other boat that was also had a massive hole in it. Like then I wrecked my car on the way home from that, like out in the boonies, right? Like we were always just out in the boonies, like getting wasted. Yeah. That's what we did.
Honestly, it sounds like a great time.
It was a great time. I loved every second of it. Yeah. I never really got in trouble other than my mom, right? Like she was calling the school, trying to get me kicked off everything that existed because I was such a problem. And, but it never really happened. I mean,
do you feel like through all of that there was consequences or no?
No.
That's a really
there was good consequences for me because I had this reputation now that like I was a badass and I loved that.
Yeah, that's funny. That's like, we're somewhere in the 30, like 34, 35 people that we've interviewed. And that's one of the most common trends that I've seen is just the lack of consequences.
No consequences. Yeah. And so by the time I graduated high school, I was super stoned at graduation. I had these green sunglasses. It was awesome. My mom was pissed. She was so pissed. Yeah. And I didn't care. I was like, you're not going to control my life. Yeah. And so it was kind of also my senior year of high school, my grandpa who still lived in LA, he got cancer and he was going to die. And so my mom would go out there for like a week at a time and then come back and forth. And so I had a house.
She would leave you there?
She would at first until she realized that I was throwing like massive parties. And then what she did was she made me go to my dad's house for the weeks that she was gone, which was kind of funny because he had an extra vehicle that I would just take and go to my mom's house and throw parties. Like it was just,
and that he's was the laid back one. So did he
no, it wasn't allowed, but I didn't care. Yeah. And I learned how to lie. Like, man, I was such a liar. I would lie, take it to my grave kind of lying. Yeah. Like that never happened. No idea what you're talking about. Like you're fucking crazy.
That's wild.
And I learned how to manipulate and lie and steal. I didn't care. Yeah. I had no I had no moral compass.
Yeah.
I wanted what I wanted right now. And if you got in my way, like,
you're going to run it over.
I will. Yeah. Like, and I will be like, I was mean. Like I was punch holes in my walls and, like I was awful. I was really mean. But again, it's like looking back on that now as a mom, if there's clearly like some serious feelings going on in there, right? And those never got addressed.
And that's something too, like we talk about that a lot, right? Like it's almost like poison in your soul.
Yes.
And it's like you have to address trauma. You have to and people are always like, well, how do you find sobriety? And I'm like, dude, you have to start by addressing the shit.
It never goes away. It's still always there. You can mask it for a moment.
Right. But then you mix in drugs and alcohol, dude, and it's just like all of a sudden those emotions are gone.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You just put them away.
Yep. And you don't have to deal with it. And I'm very much the same way.
Yeah. And so I learned to not care. My heart was still in that box, from when I was 3. I was on the path of supposed to go to college.
Yeah.
So I did. I came to CSU because it was as far away from Cortez as I could get. And so I came to CSU. I had an opportunity to play soccer in college. I had an opportunity to do band in college. And I was like, no, that's not what I want to do in college. Like, I am going to CSU because I want to party. And so I did. That's what I came to CSU for. And that's what I did. And it was great. Like, I had the best time in college.
Did you graduate?
Uh-huh. I still got good grades. I graduated like a 3.8, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually really impressive.
I've always really liked school.
So it wasn't hard for you?
No. And I enjoy learning. Like, I enjoy school.
That's cool. That's a good quality.
Yeah. And so my freshman year, I lived in the dorms. My sophomore year, we got a house up in Fort Collins, and man, like every day of the week, right? Like,
what year did you graduate high school?
2004.
Okay. So you were one. Well, actually, we're probably about the same age. I was supposed to graduate in 2004, but I got held back.
Yeah. Well, and so I was a year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're actually probably age-wise younger than I am, but
I was born in 87.
Okay. I was born in 86.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to think too, like my wife was in college at that same time.
Yeah.
At CSU.
Did she party?
Not to that degree.
See, that was my first question anytime I met someone. Still just dated whoever, because if it was convenient for me, like, I never really cared. I didn't care. My junior year, I did a semester in Hawaii at the University of Hawaii, which was also awesome.
Yeah,
It was so fun. And same thing, that was the first question I asked my roommate. It was like, do you like to party? And she did. So it was a great fit.
Yeah.
It was a match. I worked at this little ice cream shop, and I bought a longboard and just like would go to work and sell ice cream. And then I would go to class and we would get wasted. They pay you for recycling there. Like, you get 5 cents a can.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So in our dorm, our bathroom was literally full of it was like where we'd put all the cans and all the bottles and everything. There was like cockroaches in there, and it was disgusting. And then on like Sundays, we'd load them up all into a shopping cart that we'd go find and push it all the way down to the recycle center and get like $20, and then we'd go buy booze. I mean, we stole a lot because it was really expensive there. Yeah. And I remember, like, Honolulu is kind of a sketchy city. Yeah. There's a lot of like homeless, just because it's very expensive. So it's very, I feel, split, right? Yeah. Like, you're either rich. Yeah, exactly. And we didn't have cars. And so we'd go downtown, and I'm like 19, right? Like, we couldn't go to the real tourist places, but like we could get in other places. And so we'd go downtown, and I had this thing where, like, I was very stubborn. So like, if I didn't want to go somewhere or do something, I'd be like, no, I'm staying here. And so I'd like end up downtown Honolulu by myself in the middle of the night, like multiple times, like just crazy, like sitting at like doorsteps, just waiting for the next day. Like, it's just bizarre. Like, I put myself in some really horrible position.
Did anything ever serious happen?
No.
Yeah. That's good.
No.
Thank God.
Because I'd go home with whoever wanted to hang out. Like,
that's crazy.
I just
down for the party.
Yeah, exactly. I had no awareness that like there were things that would have consequences. You know what I mean? Because it had never happened to me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, meh, whatever.
Well,
I also didn't really care. Like, if it did, I just didn't care.
I was the same way too. Like, and that's like the age you're like invincible.
Yeah.
Like nothing can touch you, and it's like mix that with the emotion or with that invincible mindset, like nobody can touch me. And then you're up all the time. Like you're not really thinking clearly.
Oh, for sure. I lived for that. And I also didn't really have anything to care about. Like, I didn't have anything to lose. I didn't have a family that I cared, that I was like concerned about. I didn't have.
It didn't matter to you.
I didn't care because I wasn't really there for my future. I lived very much in the moment. Yeah. And I was doing it because that's what I was supposed to do. So I could give two shits less, honestly. And so I went to school most of the time in Hawaii. I did fail 2 out of 4 classes there, but which my mom was pissed, like so pissed. But it didn't matter because they didn't transfer unless like you only got the credit if you passed the class and it transferred. So it didn't affect my GPA. And so I knew that. And so I was like, whatever.
I don't care.
So I took an extra year to graduate, which was great.
Yeah.
I had an extra year. And so I came back and I lived in a house with 7 girls after this. And it was chaos. It was mass chaos.
Were they all similar to you?
No one's ever been similar to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got a pretty extreme personality.
I was definitely the one that was the most chaotic for sure. But not like dramatic or anything like that. Just wild.
Yeah.
Like,
just get yourself in situations and people are like,
I'd be like, the next day, I'd be like, can you come get me from this place? I don't really know what this place is, but I have no idea where my car is. I did have a cell phone at this point. I didn't have a cell phone until I went to college.
That's crazy.
I was like, I had a phone yesterday and I don't know where my car's at either. Can you come maybe get me? I walked all over Fort Collins with no shoes, no phone, and it didn't matter. I delivered pizza I drove pizzas around, which meant I could just smoke weed. And
Pizza Casbah?
No, it was at Pizza Street.
Oh yeah, that place was awesome.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We just smoked weed all the time.
It reminds me of the time we were doing blow in downtown Fort Collins, and I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
So I was like,
that's the word.
No, dude. And I was like, I gave this fucking guy my credit card and my ID because I was so fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, here, just take these.
Yeah.
Like,
I've tried to buy it with my credit card before too.
Yeah. And I was like, here, use this as collateral. I'll use this card to get
money on it.
Yeah, dude. And I was just like, I remember my buddy the next morning. I was like, bro, we got to go back and get, like, I gave that guy my credit card and my ID. And he's like, what the fuck?
I wanted something.
And I was like, I needed drugs, dude. Like, it made sense to me at the time.
I've tried to do that too. That's funny. Yeah.
Wow.
But see, the thing about being a girl is you could just date the drug dealer because then you don't even have to do anything.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
You're just there. And I
guess you could do that as a guy
for
too.
a long time. Like, that was my MO. And also started, like a lot of them were shitty, like but I didn't care because I wasn't in it to have like a good relationship. But like, I dated this one guy that like stole my dog and stole my car and took me to the airport one time to fly down to Albuquerque to see my mom after like a night of partying all night, and then left my car clear across town with the lights on so that it would be dead when I came back. I had to walk literally from, that bus station on Harmony and I-25 or whatever.
Yeah.
I had to walk from there. It was like 10 miles. And then I finally got there and my car was dead. Like, it was just like, so I dated people like this, right? Yeah. He stole my dog one time because I don't know why, because we would fight, and stupid. And so then my senior year of college, I was like, okay, I don't want to live with all these people anymore. I'm going to just get my own apartment and just finish out. I think I was tired, right? Yeah. Like I thought I was growing up and, I'm like, okay, I'm going to
like getting mature,
calm down a little bit, like, but not really calm down. I just want some quiet, a little bit of quiet. And so I got my own apartment, which is very expensive. And so I needed a better job because I also had some very expensive habits and I needed to like figure this out. So I applied for this job on Craigslist, and
it was actually legit. You could find jobs on Craigslist, and
yeah, for real. And I didn't get like fucking murdered in a ditch. It wasn't legit though, because this job posting fucked up my whole life. Really? I applied for this job where you could make all this money, and it was a vacuum salesman, which I didn't know at the time, but I went in for the job interview and this guy walks in a 3-piece suit, and I instantly knew, like, I've always had this like energy type thing with people, and I was like, this is gonna be bad. Like, I just felt it. Yeah, I was like, this is gonna, I already know that we're gonna like end up dating or hooking up or something, and this is just gonna be not great, because I just get like, I was like, this guy's kind of a douchebag, but I didn't care. Like, I didn't care. And so I got the job, and I was actually really good at it, so I did make a lot of money. But I was going to people's houses selling fucking vacuums. Like,
that's crazy.
It was crazy.
What year is this? Because that's like something you were thinking like the 80s.
2003. No, they were filter queens, and they were like the badass. They're like $3,000.
That's crazy.
And we had these like air filters too. And so I was doing that, making a lot of money. And we ended up getting married. He was from Idaho, and he was living in Fort Collins in the Ramada Inn, which is not the Ramada Inn anymore. It's also the one that got like taken down for prostitution.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that was like the bad one.
the ghettoest pool and whatever. But this guy and his narcissistic personality just kind of, he was like 7 years older than me and just kind of was like, wanted to do the same things I wanted to do, which was like go out to the bars and get shit-faced drunk. And then he started paying for it all. And so I was like, okay,
sweet,
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Like, sure. And then, it's funny because my roommate and one of my friends from high school she was the bartender at the Ramada Inn. And I remember she was like, dude, that guy sucks. Like, don't hang out with him. He's such a douchebag. Like she did not like him at all. And I was like, whatever. Like, I don't care. And so I was like, but he buys me like whatever I want. Like,
you're like, yeah, I'm not going to leave that. This is a good situation.
Why would I? Like, I don't have to spend any money. And so he had 3 kids and they lived in Idaho. And this for me, we did start dating and then we actually moved in together after I graduated college. I was so drunk when I graduated college that I don't even remember doing it. And my mom.
Like getting married?
No, graduating.
Oh,
college,
graduating. Gotcha.
Getting my degree.
Yeah.
My mom was so mad, like so disappointed. That was the theme. And she didn't like him either. And then we dated for a year and then he asked me to marry him. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, I guess. Again, like I didn't have
like
no
cuff,
idea.
Like,
yeah, I was like, okay, like, I guess that's what you're supposed to do next. I don't know. I had no idea like how you were supposed to do life or how like I was supposed to do life. Cause I know it's all different, but like, I was like, oh, I guess that's what you're supposed to do now after you graduate college. I got a social work degree. And so because I've always had like a sense of like just love for people.
Yes,
I want to help people. And so I got a social work degree and I graduated and I started applying for jobs and I would like go to an interview and they would ask me like these questions and I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But that's where I was at, right? Like I had this degree and I was like, ew, I don't want to do any of those things.
Like, yeah, you're like, oh, this sucks.
And so he had 3 kids and he didn't see them. He wasn't a part of their life at the moment. And that to me, I was like, ooh, that was a big red flag for me. I was like, you need to see your kids. And so I kind of forced him to, I guess. And so in the process of us dating, I brought those kids back into his life and into mine. So I inherited these 3 boys. And so the oldest was 6 or something, or 7, 5, and 1 at the time, 3 boys who lived in Idaho. And they would start coming for like part of the summer for some holidays and stuff like that. And I love kids. Like kids are my favorite. Like I instantly bonded with these boys. I loved them. And he doesn't know how to do that. So they came and it was me. We got also during this time, we were still doing whatever. We had season tickets to the Nuggets. Drove a Range Rover. We got married in Fiji. Like we just would go all over the place and do whatever we wanted. And I didn't ever get a social work job. I started doing the books he took over the company and I started doing the books. So I was working in the office whenever I wanted and not. Then we got married and then I was like, okay, like I had this expectation of how life was going to be now, like we're going to be a team and we're going to have a family and we're going to do what's going to be great. Like you're going to be my best friend partner, right?
How old were you when you got married?
I was 21 when we started dating. I had just turned 21. So I could go to the bar now. Yeah. That was great. And I was 23 when we got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's young.
Yeah, I know. And my mom was very upset. Every time something like big for me happened, it was never keep your shit to yourself and like be happy for me. It was always a waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, oh, how are you going to fuck up your life now? This is a bad decision. Everything, like you're making the wrong decision. You're doing it wrong. This is going to be bad and it's all bad. And so I didn't have anyone to talk. Like I didn't have anyone.
Well, and that's like, right. Like that's a checks and balances system, right? In your own life. And yeah, you're not processing anything really. You're just kind of reacting to what's going on around you.
Yeah.
And that's something I've learned too through sobriety, like intentionality.
Yeah.
And understanding things. And I'm an external processor, right? So getting on it, like people are like, gosh, you're so honest. And I'm like, well, it's just like my way of processing things, But yeah, dude, like I can't even imagine. Like,
well, Yeah, so I thought he was supposed to be that for me, but that was not the case at all.
So in that sense, you're like starting to unload all of your.
Well, I went into it like thinking, we're going to build this life together.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be awesome. Like we're going to have a family and do, like be a loving couple and stuff like that. And so then a year later, I had my daughter when I was 24. And so again, my mom, when I told her that I was pregnant, she was like,
Jesus.
"Ooh, are you like, oh no, like it was the worst thing ever." And I was like, "But I'm married now. Like I'm doing it right. Like I'm doing this the way that it's supposed to be done." And so like I never had that support. And so when my daughter was born, holy shit, like I had no idea what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
Like I was 24 years old, had no really life experience. I was good at very few things, and none of them were very like conducive to raising a child. And there was also some complications with her, like after the fact, like when after she was born, like they didn't get all this stuff didn't come out and it was gross, but
like the placenta.
Yes. So I was basically dying, but I didn't know it. And so like I would call the hospital and I was like, I don't think this is normal. And I was like white as a ghost. Like I couldn't feed her because I was dying. And so she was dying. And so she was awake all night. And I didn't know what was normal and what wasn't normal. And so I thought it was normal. And so by the time she was 2 months old, I went back in and I had to get a DNC. And then I was like, okay, like now I was like, so like that first 2 months of her life, like I don't actually even remember it because I was just like dead. But then, so I stayed home with her for the first 2 years. And it was awesome. Like it's a lonely thing though, because you're like with an infant and it's just weird.
Yeah. You don't have adult human connection.
Yeah. And he continued to do whatever he wanted. Like he was going out doing whatever he wanted. And so I was the one that was running the house.
Did drugs and alcohol kind of fall away at this point in time?
No, they were still there.
Yeah.
But it became more of a home thing.
Yeah.
I didn't go out anymore. And I did chill out a little bit, but there is no chilling out for me. Like and I never knew this until recently. If I drink, I will drink the whole thing. Like I can't just have a drink. And I didn't know that at the time, but I will drink till 4 a.m. and then feel like shit for 5 days or keep drinking. Like that never clicked for me. And so, yeah, it was still a part of our life and it was normal. Like we hung out with people who did the same and it was manageable. Like I was miserable though. And I didn't know it because I was so used to being miserable. So I went back to school when she was about 2. And I went back and I got my master's in elementary education. And I was like, I'm going to be a teacher. Yeah. And so I did. I started teaching. We had my son in 2017, my second year of teaching. And it was okay. By this time, the oldest was a freshman in high school and he had gotten into some trouble. So they decided that him coming to live with us would fix everything. Yeah. And so the first one came to live with us. So now I had Jaden, who was a freshman. My daughter was 5, kindergarten, first grade, whatever, and a baby. And
gosh, those are like 3 major different stages of life.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he is 16 years older, the oldest, and then the youngest.
That's the biggest gap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so I was teaching. I love teaching. That's I think where I belonged, right?
Were you teaching elementary school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I taught 5th grade. And then it was okay. I was managing it.
All the while still drinking?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then I started drinking to numb stuff. Like I hadn't really done that before. Like that was kind of new. It was more like I had a shitty day. Like I need a drink. Right. Teaching is really hard.
Yeah, I can imagine that. It's like
hard job.
I was like, nope.
And it's never ending. It's not like, oh, the day's done. Like, let's go home. And it's very stressful. It's a lot of pressure on you as the teacher. You're dealing with parents, admin, kids, and you are the one that has to do everything.
Graded at tests. All that.
Planning.
You don't have any help?
No. Who's going to help you?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's why they have teacher's aides and stuff now.
But
my daughter usually has
so
two.
sometimes you have help, but like it's pretty all on you.
Yeah.
And I still had this perfection thing, right? So I had to be the best at it. And I was for a minute, or at least in my head, I was for a minute.
You're probably just stressing yourself out to the max.
Yeah, I was working way too hard. And then I was building all this resentment towards my husband because he wasn't doing shit. And I was working a full-time hard job and taking care of the whole house. Like I was doing all of the cleaning, all of the cooking, all of the shopping, all of the children's stuff. Like everything was it was like we were in 1920.
Yeah.
And it was still all my responsibility.
But I was
also working a full-time hard job. And so I started to hate him. It didn't take very long. I hated him. And so occasionally it would come out, like when I would get drunk and like we'd scream and yell at each other and like break shit and throw shit and like, yeah, it wasn't like physically abusive, but there was a few times where it was like borderline for sure.
Definitely toxic.
Yeah, so toxic. And then the other two boys, well, then the next one came to live with us because he actually got expelled from school for drinking and in high school. So then the next one came to live with us, and then the next one came to live with us. And so then this is when my life took a turn for terrible. This is probably gonna be the longest episode ever, huh? In 2018, I want to say, we moved. We had just finished remodeling the kitchen, like the house, and I loved my house and I did not want to move. And we moved to this 7,000 square foot house with a swimming pool inside of it, a wraparound balcony, like a massive, immaculate yard.
Where was this at?
It's in Fort Collins. It's on 392. Yeah. Oh, it looks like shit now, which is not a surprise.
392, like right here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's right on the corner. I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
Look at the Zillow though. The Zillow is amazing. But I knew, again, I had this premonition in my head, like this is going to be a disaster. Like this is not good. And so it was like 7 bedrooms or something ridiculous. So everyone could fit. We did need more space.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have 5 kids.
So in 2018, we moved in there. I think it was like March-ish. It was right around my son's birthday. We moved in there and I literally said, I am not taking care of this yard and I am not taking care of this pool. Those were like my 2 things. I was like, this house is insane. I'm going to have to take care of this house. But then we had 2 high schoolers and a middle schooler and an elementary schooler and a preschooler. And so I was just chaos, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm still teaching. That summer, his ex-wife, their mom, came to live with us in the house. And so summers as a teacher, don't fuck with my summers. Like I was pissed. Not even just because it was her, like she had already kind of been a part of our life, but also because it was her. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I'm trying to build our life here. Like get the fuck out. But then she was in my house all summer and she had gotten remarried over the time and had a couple other like random stepkids, married and divorced. So she had like this extra kid. So he came to live with us. So now we had 6 kids, an ex-wife and a douchebag husband, a dog, a cat, all the things, right? And he was not interested in my concerns about that I couldn't do this by myself, that I really needed his help, that I tried to do chore charts. I tried to do meal planning. I tried to do grocery shopping lists. I tried to do all these things to have some structure. Our life had 0 structure. It was a shit show. It was a disaster. I never knew if I was cooking for just me and my own kids or like 12 to 15 people because they were bringing friends over. Like it was just chaos. And I felt very much like it was my responsibility or it wasn't going to get done. And so then the next year, that was about the time when I said, fuck it. I don't care anymore. I'll take care of my shit and my kids and like nobody's going to help. Then good luck. And I drank a lot during that time, like just a lot. Then COVID happened. And so COVID was a nightmare.
Well, and do you guys have lots of kids in school trying to do the online stuff?
It was a disaster. So when COVID originally happened in 2019 and we all went home, nobody really knew like how long it was going to be for, right? Like
that was all
new. I kind of loved it at first because I've always been kind of introverted. I don't really like
the homebody kind of
yes,
style.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
sure.
like, great, like now I'll have time to do this, that, and the other. I get to be with my kids. Like I was teaching online, whatever that means. And so it didn't really matter. And so, but it turned into a disaster because it was more chaos, right? And I think it was during 2019 that I know what happened. I know what happened. So Donovan, my ex, he really like made the boys do all this stuff, right? So we live on this house that has like 2 acres of land, and it's old. It's like from the 80s, and so it needs a lot of work. He wanted them to replace the sprinkler system. There's 16, 14, and like 10. And so he went to Home Depot and bought like 200 sprinklers or however many in a bucket, brought home the bucket of sprinklers and was like, here. And then he went golfing. And we all laughed. I was literally laughing. I was like, are you joking? Like, is this a joke? Like they don't even know how to like cook macaroni and cheese. You're going to have to like dig up what? And so I was like, no, don't do that. And he came home a little bit later, well, a lot bit later, wasted, and kicked all 3 of them out. All of them. Get your shit, get the fuck out of my house, and like mean, right? And this was actually the second time that had happened over something sort of similar. It was 0 to 1,000. There's no middle. And so the second time it happened, I packed my shit. I remember I was eating a bowl of chips and salsa. I had a bowl of salsa in my hands and my kid in my other hand. And the second time he did that, he was like, get your fucking shit, get out of the house, like screaming at them, and they're crying. I threw that salsa bowl across the kitchen and it shattered everywhere, salsa everywhere. And I went and I got our stuff and we left too. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, you cannot, I won't like participate in that shit. Yeah. Like, you can't kick a 10-year-old out of the house. Yeah, no it's kidding. No. I
mean, any of them.
Not happening. Literally. And I left and I got a hotel for a while. I stayed with my mom for a while. I stayed with some friends for a while. I stayed in one of those like extended stay places for a while. And I was working and I had my kids during this time and I was drinking a lot.
Did you have his kids too?
No.
They ended up
with their mom. They went with their mom and she got like an apartment too. Okay. And I wanted a divorce, but I didn't know how to do it. It was hard. Like, I didn't know how to, like, that was too overwhelming for me to like start that process. And I also was really close with the boys and I didn't want to lose them. And I knew like my own kids, we would work it out to where I'd still be in their lives, but I knew it was going to change that relationship with the boys. And I couldn't bring myself to do that. I could not bring myself to like sever that with them. Yeah. And so I really wish I would have, because I just kept digging myself holes, deeper and deeper and deeper holes. I eventually got an apartment where my kids were with me 99% of the time because he just didn't want to deal with it. He didn't want any responsibility. And so, but I was in a really dark place by this time. Like, we had gone back to school that next year. Our district went back to school. And so we were teaching with masks. We were going home at the drop of a hat for 2 weeks, having to teach online, having to keep the kids 6 feet apart. Like, it was a nightmare. It was just awful.
Honestly, like, I think you guys probably experienced the worst.
It was terrible. And I had no sense of being anymore. Like, I was so depressed. I was in such a dark, awful place. I didn't know how to get out of it. And so I just drank, you know, like I drank a lot. And it didn't really matter because it was COVID. I would use COVID. I was like, I don't feel so good. Like, I'm not going to come in. I just quit going to work half the time.
Kind of easy to do that too.
And then, in 2020, like in October, around this time, this is the time of year when my life would always just like fall completely apart. And I think it's it's partly because it's right after school started. Yeah. And like I would hold it together for a little bit and then it would just crumble. Yeah. And so at this time in 2020, I had my own apartment and I didn't show up to work for like 3 days and I wasn't answering my phone. My son was like 3. And I eventually answered the phone. I was on a bender, right? Like I would just drink, pass out. I eventually answered the phone and I remember I was actually like on the floor and he was there this whole time and she was there. Yeah. Like, it was terrible. And I was like throwing up, Like I was so sick. And it was one of my friends at school who was like, "Oh my God, like, where are you? What is happening?" I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "It's fine." I still was like, "It's fine." No awareness that I had just missed like half a week of work without any information. I just didn't show up. And so she came over. My apartment was a wreck. Like it was bad. The bathtub was full of water, like CPS. That was the first time I got CPS called on me.
Really?
And she took me to the hospital, and I spent the night in the hospital, and I didn't realize that it had gotten so bad, but I was drinking like a handle of vodka a day. Like there was handles of vodka all over my apartment. Like it was just a wreck. It was terrible. So sad. And so I went to the hospital and stayed the night in the hospital, and then they drove me down to detox the next morning. I didn't even know that was a thing until I got put there.
Dude, I didn't. So the first time I tried to get sober, I did it on my own, because, there was somebody after that was like, dude, you could literally die.
Yeah.
And I had no idea.
Yeah. I was so sick. I threw up all over myself in the ambulance on the way down to the Denver to the detox facility. Showed up like covered in puke, like probably hadn't showered in a week, just shitty, like so bad.
And the crazy thing is in your brain, all of this is normal.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know it was happening. Like it just happened. That happened pretty quick, like to where it was that it took over like that. And so I was in detox for a week, and it was like the psych ward basically. Right. And, have my grippy socks and everything.
You still have them?
I do. My grippy sock vacation. No, my mom has them actually. She likes them. But there was people in there. There was like a doctor in there, and there was like some guy from California in there.
Like in the
detox facility with me. I was in there for a week. They wouldn't let me leave because my lovely ex had called there and said like he was now in control of my life because I had crossed the line. Said, that she's suicidal and all of this, and probably true, like at the time. Yeah. So they had me on a hold. They wouldn't let me leave. And I felt like I had a wake up call where I was like, okay, like that was too far. I get it now. I see that was too far. I understand. I won't do that again. Just let me go so I can fix all the shit that I just destroyed. Right. Like I was on leave from work. And he was like, nope, you're going to rehab. And he had gotten my mom on board with him because like she knew it was a problem. And so they were on the same team, which it was against me. Like, we're going to put you here. And so they put me here. So I went to rehab for 2 weeks. And then he came to get me out of rehab because he wasn't happy with the way that it was going. He decided it wasn't the right rehab. I don't fucking know. He came to pick me up. Then I had to move back home because else I wasn't going to be allowed to see my kids. So now I like have my hands tied, right? I had to go back to that house. And also we had high schoolers who partied. It was a party house. So I was going right back.
Thing is he's doing it all too.
Yeah, no way. It gets better. I was back in that house under his control, and he liked me sick. He really did because I couldn't, he was in control of the situation. It made him look really good because I was the one that kept fucking everything up. That was in like November. And I stayed sober for, I don't know, a week maybe. And then he decided it was okay as long as I was with him. I could drink with him. For my birthday in January, he got me a handle of vodka and an 8-ball of cocaine for my birthday. And so it was like right back. And I was like, I knew at that point, I wanted to like make a change. I had no idea how to do it. Yeah. And I also, again, was like, fuck it. I guess like if this is what we're going to do, let's do it. I can do this better than anyone, so I did. Right back in the same situation I was in before. I learned that like drinking in the morning makes your hangover go away. So I was just drunk all the time. I was drunk all the time. We had kept our old house, the one that we moved from, and we had renters in it. That summer of 2021, I was like, their lease was up. I was like, I am done with this. I am moving out of this shit. I don't care how hard it is. I am going to move out and do my own fucking thing. Like I was so done. And so I did. I moved out in July of 2021. And so, that saying like wherever you go, that's where you are. Like I thought it was going to help me. But it did for a minute, like a couple weeks. And then I was right back in it. And then same thing again, like the year.
Sorry.
So I stayed sober for, I got my job. I kept my job over that incident. They, like had a sub in there for a couple of months while I got better and took a mental break. But by now, like,
It's actually kind of
it was, it really was, because it's technically illegal to fire someone for a medical situation, right? But my principal knew, like, it was very obvious. And they were really sweet during this time. They were like, if you need any help, if you need anything. And I did, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, you
I
didn't know what
didn't
to
have
ask
a
for.
clue.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to ask or what to ask for or what to do. All I knew is like, I should be strong enough to be able to do this. And damn it, I'm going to. And so I tried my hardest to do it by myself, just like life in general, right? And when I moved out into the old house, I was still jumping through CPS hoops because I did get filed on. Nothing, it was really confusing because they never like gave me a piece of paper that said you can't, like, here's the rules.
Yeah.
Here's your rules. They just sort of like, it was really weird. Like, she would come visit sometimes and like I'd sit down and talk to her and the kids would be there and she's like, "Oh, your kids aren't supposed to be here." And I was like, "Well, nobody told me that." And he was bringing them to me and then being like, "She's a bad mom." Like,
Yeah.
he was like trying to, I don't know I don't really know. And it's so confusing. And I was like, "Okay, well, if they're not supposed to be here, can you tell me what like the rules are? Because I don't know." She's like, "Well, they're supposed to be supervised." I was like, "Well, my mom's right there. Like, so does she need to be here?" I was like, "Who's going to supervise?" And she was like, "He is. He's the supervisor." I was like, "Well, fuck that. Like, no, like, I'm not doing that. I will allow anyone else on the planet to supervise my visits, but not him." And so somehow we worked our way through that. And I don't really know. Like, there was never technically a case or anything. It just was like a problem. I don't actually know. They never gave me paperwork or anything. And then I went back to school. I was teaching. And then October of 2021, um, I had stayed up all night drinking and doing blow by myself because that's normal. And that's normal, right?
I've been there.
And I remember, it's funny because I used to like cut myself off on Sundays, right? At 5 p.m. At first it was like 12 p.m. First it was like no Sundays. Then it was like 12 p.m. Then it was like 5 p.m. Then it was like 8 p.m. Then it was like 10 p.m. Then it was like 12 p.m. And then I was just like, fuck it. And so it was Sunday and Monday morning was October 1st. Or maybe it was Friday. It must have been a Friday. That's what it was. And I had stayed up all night and I was so out of it. Like, I don't actually remember. I was in blackout. I drove my son to preschool, signed him in. The signature actually looks semi okay.
Yeah.
Like, you can read it. And then I drove my daughter to school. And she was in 5th grade, which is what I taught at the same school. And I don't remember doing any of this, which is actually probably good, right? Like, and the next thing I know, I remember leaving my house. And then the next thing I know, I was in the backseat of my principal's car on my way to Greeley to get a breathalyzer. And that moment for me, man, like, that was the heaviest and lightest moment of my entire life. Like, I woke up just sobbing my eyes out, like, "I'm so sorry," like just a wreck. I don't really know. I don't know how it happened or what happened, but obviously I couldn't be there. I blew like a 0.38 or something at like 8:30 in the morning. They took me to Greeley to get that done. And then they left me there in the parking lot because they had to get back and deal with the disaster that I had just created. It was a school day. But that moment in the backseat of that car, I finally felt just, I gave up.
Yeah.
I gave up trying to fight it. I gave up trying to pretend that it wasn't. I gave up trying to act like I knew what I was doing. I gave up all of that shit and was just like, I give up. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Kind of like, hey, tell me what to do kind of situation.
Like, help.
Yeah.
I need help. And then, so my mom came to get me, of course. Like, she's like, "You're a mess. You're a disaster. You need to go to rehab." And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, like, I give up. Later that same day, though, she came to get me and I took a nap in her car and I woke up in her garage after this. And I was trying to get her to take me back home because I was really sick and I needed to drink. Like,
Yeah.
so, and she did, and she knew that's what I wanted. And I like lied about it and said I wanted to get something and da 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 da. And she like totally busted me and dumped it all out in front of me. And I was like, oh, it was the worst thing ever. That was the worst. That feeling of being so sick and knowing what will fix it, but knowing it's also making it worse. Such a horrible thing. Anyways, that was a Friday. Monday, I was in rehab. I went to Inner Balance in Loveland this time. And that thing that I did, like that scared the shit out of me so much because that was me. There was no one I could blame that on. You know, like I couldn't be like, oh, it was because of this, that, or the other, or like, you know, like I reacted to you doing something or whatever. That scared me. I did that. I had to literally be like, you did that. Like you did that. Nothing inside me is that type of person. Like I am not that type of person. But now I had lost my kids for the second time. And there was no going back from that. Like I was so fucked. I lost my job because I showed up wasted. I had nothing. And that was actually the greatest gift, honestly. Yeah, what were you going to say?
Why do you think that was the greatest gift?
Because that's what it took for me.
That was rock bottom.
That's what it took for me. I couldn't make a change on my own. I had to get everything ripped away from me.
So let me ask you a question. Through all this whole process of drinking and like getting, like, did you know that you had a problem?
No.
Never.
No.
Not until this happened.
No.
You know, and I want to highlight that too, because I think our environment that we were raised in condoned that.
Yeah.
Because I punched a window when I was 26, maybe 25 in 2012 and almost cut my hand off. So I went through the window and then pulled it out and it blew up my wrist. I drank for 12 more years.
Yeah.
I remember being
what you do.
Yeah. I therapy session with this dude. And he was like, have you ever considered stopping drinking? And I was like, how the fuck would I do that?
Yeah, people would say, my mom would say, when I say people, she would say, you need to quit drinking. And I was like, the drinking is not the problem here. And like, I still actually feel that though, because the drinking became a problem.
That's a good point.
The was not the drink, that the drinking was my solution. The drinking was my solution to all of the other problems. I said, take the drinking away. Sure. Like I could quit drinking right now if I wanted to. And honestly, I probably could have. I would still be miserable though. Yeah. Like I could have, if I just dropped the drinking out, it wouldn't have solved. I was like, that's not the problem. The problem is in here. Right. Like I am dying inside and I'm making it worse. Yes. Now I see that. But like at the time I was like, no, that's how I'm surviving.
I want to highlight that too, because I think if anybody's listening to this in active addiction, like I think that's crazy important because I've always said drinking and drugs is a symptom of something deeper, right? That's why I really feel like we're starting to hone in on this niche through this podcast of like identifying your trauma, you know, and turning your trauma into purpose, you know, and so it's like, I love, like, I listen to this song and he's like, you know, he says something about how I'm going to turn all my pain into gold, you know, and it's like, that's a requirement, you know, for getting sober. And I also think that once you can do that successfully, dude, it's like a superpower.
It really is. And it feels so good.
Yeah. And it gives you this level of confidence and understanding of who you are and purpose.
100%. I
don't feel like a lot of normal people are ever going to experience that because they don't have to.
I would never have experienced it. And so at the time, you know, it was the worst thing. Like I was in the worst place of my life.
Super vulnerable.
I had a mountain of shit that I had done that I was wanting to fix, right? Because that's what we do, right? Like we're like, oh no, I'm so sorry I did all of this. Like how do I fix it and get back to normal, like back to regular? And it was really scary. And he was such an asshole during this time because I was trying to get better, and he would call and be like, you are the worst fucking person on the planet. You will never see your kids again. Like, just like your kids hate you and everybody thinks you're a piece of shit. And you like, basically you're the scum of the earth. And I was like, you know what? I already know that. Thank you.
Dude, and that's
but it was just like, it was very like beat you while you're down.
Right.
Because he knew that, I don't know. I think for me, I think he knew that I was about to leave.
Change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to change. And I was not going to back down. And he wanted that. He wanted me to just quit, get better and come home and like continue to be that. And I was like, nope. There is nothing on this planet. If you take the kids, like I will fight till the day I die to get them back. But I'm not coming back home. Like I will not. And so while I was in rehab, I listened. I started listening and I did everything they said because I clearly had no idea what I was doing. Like it was very clear to me now that I was way out in
No tools in
fucking
the tool
space.
belt.
I had nothing. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing or what to do. I didn't think I was ever going to overcome any of the shit that I had already done. But I just started listening to what they said to do. And I did all of it. And I did it like the best of my ability. The first meeting I ever went to was an AA meeting. It was actually on Monday, the day that I got into rehab. A Monday night meeting. And I sat in the back and I bawled my eyes out the whole time. I had been really against going to AA, like really against it because I knew better, like I knew nobody was going to tell me what to do. Nobody was going to tell me what to do. But that changed my life. All these little things started to change my life. And I heard people who were like me. And I was like, whoa. Like I always tried to cover up who I was because I was crazy. And I didn't want anyone to know any of the things that I had done or who I was really on the inside. But then they started talking and I was like, what? Like I did that too. Or I'm like that too. And so I just started listening. I just became a sponge. And I was like, clearly you know something I don't know. And I want to know how to fix this. Like what's in here. And so I made it through rehab. Sometimes he would let Jax, my son, come see me sometimes, every once in a while. Like twice maybe the whole time.
Were you in like an inpatient program?
I didn't see my daughter for over 100 days during this time. Yeah, it was the hardest thing ever. But I listened to the people that told me it needed to happen. I was like, okay. I mean, I cried so many rivers like during this time. I just cried and I tried to just focus on myself, like they said. I had really hurt her. I caused her some trauma here, right? Well, both of them, but he was so little. He was still like 3, so he didn't know. But she had been the one that had to deal with that, right? Like one day her mom's at school and one morning and the next morning there was all kinds of rumors, like I got arrested in the parking lot and that I came to school wasted and that there was a lot of rumors. And so she was dealing with that by herself without me, and so that broke my heart. But I took the time. I got out of rehab on Halloween, which was really crazy, weird. And I went home and there was kids coming to my door in costumes. I didn't know how to do anything sober. Like I didn't have any desire for this in my life to like have a sober day. I didn't know how to do Halloween. I didn't know how to go to the grocery store.
How old are you at this point?
34. I drank for 20 years.
21 years.
Yeah. My whole life. That scared me. Like being sober, I didn't want that because I didn't like it. It was scary. So kids were
Did
like
you have
perpetrating stuff.
trusting yourself and like the decisions that you were making after you were sober?
Yes.
Yeah, I really struggled.
I struggled with like walking out my front door.
It's crazy too. As I look at your story, and it's like you had no fucking support, like in your family.
Even at this point, my mom came and lived with me because she didn't trust me.
Yeah. I think that's a big difference between you and I's story. I had a lot of support.
Mm-hmm.
My brother is like actually had every reason to do it, but you didn't. And so I was really blessed in that regard, where I think that fast tracked everything for me.
Yeah.
I think it could have been a lot harder had I not had that. So that amount of grit. It's impressive.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that because that's, I don't think a lot of addicts have to go through that alone, so that's really.
I got this, I don't know, like I got this fire, like after being in rehab where I was like, enough is enough. Like, I'm gonna fucking do everything I can to live a better life. Because I was at a point where it was either die or don't. Like, which one are you gonna do?
Right.
I was so tired of being miserable. I knew there had to be a better way somehow. And so before I left rehab, they were like, get a sponsor. And I was like, I don't know if AA is the way for me, but I don't know any other way. So like today, right now, it's going to be the way because that's what yeah, exactly. And so I picked it up and I did it. I was like, they said, get a sponsor. I literally went from rehab to a meeting, like didn't even go anywhere else first. And I asked this girl to be my sponsor. And then I started doing the steps like right away because I wanted to fix it in here. And also, I didn't have a job now or kids. So I had all the time in the world. I made it my full-time job. I really did. I did IOP afterwards up here in Fort Collins for 90 days. And then I did IOP in Denver actually for 90 days, 3 days a week, 3 hours a day. Like I was driving to Denver back and forth. I was going to at least 2 meetings a day. I was doing a breathalyzer twice a day. I did everything. I was documenting all the meetings I was going to, not because I had to, but also because while I was in there, I decided to get a lawyer for a divorce.
Yeah.
But he had gone into my email account and was having all of my emails forwarded to him because that's normal, so that he could keep tabs on me, right? So he could make sure I was not talking to anyone. That's what he was doing. Make sure I was, yeah, exactly. So he saw that I was looking for lawyers because I was emailing. And then he ended up filing, which actually made my life a lot easier because I didn't have to do the work. Like then I just had to that is kind of a theme too. It's like he wants to be the one in charge.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's actually funny because you made it harder for yourself. But anyway, so now I'm going through a divorce. I am not allowed to see my kids. I am not have a job or any type of future because I really fucked that up. Like nobody's going to give me a recommendation now. So I did sobriety. I did the steps. I made amends. I worked my ass off to go to every meeting. I did all kinds of service work. I helped with gratitude banquet. I started chairing a meeting. I made the coffee. Like I did whatever they said I should do. I did it, and I did it with like my whole heart. Like I.
What do you think the biggest thing you learned through all that?
Well, there's a lot, but it is basically like I am learned that I don't have control over what happens. People, what happens in the world. I had so much resentment against how you treated me, how I was working so hard and nothing was happening and nobody appreciated what I was doing and I felt like shit. And like, I learned how to let all that stuff go and to just live in the moment. Like, one day at a time. I know I hate all this.
You know what? But legitimacy to that.
So much. And the Serenity Prayer, man, I said it 1,000 times a day.
I swear to
kids know it now because it's like,
I swear, dude, living 6 inches in front of my
it gets me through everything.
It changed.
It gets me through everything. There's nothing now that can phase me. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but like, I learned
like this major shock.
I learned how to look at things for what they are. Yeah. It's like, okay, you're making that choice. All right, cool. I'm going to go do this because like, I don't have to react to you. I don't have to throw myself off a cliff because you said something that pissed me off. Like, it just doesn't even really make sense. I learned that alcohol and those, any substance really has full control over my brain. I am a raging alcoholic. Yeah. If I take a drink, I will end up, it'll be next year. I won't have a clue. I'll have burned everything in my life.
Were you able to set down like the stuff in your inside of you? Like, were you able to figure that stuff out?
Yeah, it was. The steps changed my life. Doing the steps because I needed directions mostly. Like I needed the directions to look inside. And that's what they are, like directions. First you do this, next you do that, next you do this.
And honestly, at that point in time too, your brain is so fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and I was always really good at that. Like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yes, tell me how to do this. So I literally got a workbook that went with the steps, and I did the workbook. It took me a year to get through all the steps the first time. And I was so ready to do my amends because deep inside I knew I wasn't a shitty person. But I had done a lot of really shitty things. I had hurt everyone in my life. And I wanted to put it out there that I was acknowledging it and not necessarily asking for forgiveness, but I wanted to own it.
Which is good, you know, and that's the place where I think that, are you spiritual?
Yes.
I think that that's the place that God starts to come in. And when you don't know, right, like what to do, the faith piece of spirituality is, to me, so important.
Yeah.
You know, because there's so many things in life that I don't understand. And there's so many things in life that I'm afraid to do because especially with my kids, you know, and so it's just like, okay, like it's such a great check,
Yeah.
you know, and this was my high school quote. I want to tell you this. This was my fucking quote in high school. I'd rather live my life like there is a God than die and find out that there is my life like there is and die.
Yeah.
That was my fucking high school
You
quote.
were really smart in high school.
I mean, talk about introspective, right? Like, I think I saw that somewhere, and I was like, "That's amazing."
Yeah.
You know, and it's so, and it's carried.
I think it's common for us though. We are very just intuitive, intelligent, just fucking great people.
Yes.
Great people.
Yes.
And we just can't get there.
See, and that's why podcast is so goddamn important, I think, and what's going on in the social world, because, dude, I'm telling you, you get these people away from addiction.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, oh, let's shove them in the corner,
I know.
watch people fucking pass out on all the
Well, it's horrible because this disease really is. It's insane because it's like the best people will blow up their whole lives and everything around them, but not because they want to.
Right.
They're doing it. It's out of their control, but it looks from the outside, it looks like they are the ones doing it, but it's like you're possessed or something. Like, it's crazy.
You know, and that's the thing. It's like there's these internal spirits, these demons. And, you know, it was funny too. You said this, and I don't think you really highlighted it. But when you went into detox the first time, you realized like there's doctors in there.
Yeah.
There's high profile people.
Yeah. I was like regular people.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I also was in a room with like a crackhead roommate.
Well, yeah, of course.
I was just in shock. I didn't know detox was a thing.
Right.
I didn't know rehab was a thing.
Dude, and that's the thing. Like some of the people I met in rehab, they were best friends.
Yeah.
You know,
You will get such a bond with those people for sure.
And I've always said, like, I really actually enjoyed rehab.
I did too.
Because it was an opportunity for me to truly externally process things.
Yes.
You know, and I really thought about it.
I did too. Yeah. Well, by the time I went the second time, I was like, all right, clearly I don't know what to do. I can't do this. And it was the first time in my life where people were like encouraging me and like saying it's okay and like saying like, wow, you're really brave and just like those types of things.
Positive affirmation.
I had never gotten that anywhere else in my life ever. And so I was like, what? Even after all of the shit that I did, like I can still be a good person. Like I had zero self-confidence, like I hated myself. And so it was really awesome to be able to.
And it's a slow build back to like, you know.
It is
and the crazy thing is, I didn't actually know who I was.
I didn't either. People will say like, I wanted to get my life back. And I'm like, I didn't have a life to get back. I never had one. I didn't know how to do life.
So much confusion, you know, and it was like, and I had all these insane emotions that I didn't know what to do with, you know. And so it was just like alcohol was obviously the easy answer. And it was so acceptable.
And it was, like praised.
Totally, you know, and it still is in our culture.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's getting better.
I hate that.
But I don't know. You know, it's crazy. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's good.
So you got rehab. got through the
Yeah, so I
steps?
got through rehab. I did the steps. I started, I grabbed onto it because it was there and I didn't know what else, I didn't have any other options at the
Right.
time being. So I was like, I'm gonna do this. And it worked. And like it worked. They say that in meetings, right? Like it'll take the obsession away. It took the obsession away. I have like zero obsession anymore about it.
It's like thanks for always acts, right?
Mhm.
Do you tend to push hard into certain things, or do you still see that black and white personality in your life?
Um,
Or would you say that you feel more balanced?
I feel way more balanced.
Because I still have a
Yeah.
tendency to go way into certain
But I
things.
do, yeah, I have that initial reaction to things sometimes, like panic. And I don't know, like my
Totally.
kid, my little kid, I've had to do a lot of like work with the little kid inside me, the little girl
Yeah.
that is just sitting by herself, like I have to like her hand a lot and like give her a hug.
Yeah.
Because that is the one for me that comes out is just like shut everything out,
Yeah.
close off, and like turn into panic mode.
Yeah.
And like that's when I get overwhelmed and backed into a corner, I feel like when I feel that way, that's bad for me.
Yeah.
Like that's when I know that it's
And it's
good.
the same.
Yeah.
Like I don't like to be challenged.
Mhm.
I've noticed that, especially with my wife, like, and there's still things that is a teenager thing to do.
Yeah, and it's a really hard thing because not only are you changing your whole life, but you're also still making up for all of the shit that you did. So like mending those relationships, like I know it's still, like the trauma that I caused to my kids. I know that's still there. And it comes out sometimes. It was
You know,
really hard at first. My daughter was like, fuck you, like I'm not listening. She hated me.
how old is she now?
Oh, she's 14 now.
Yeah.
So it's been 4 years. It's been almost 4 years. And we're super duper close. And like I still go to therapy once a week and I still go to meetings at least once a week. And like I have worked really hard and I know you said something about like you wanted them to see your struggle.
Yeah.
Like I have shared, I am like an open book. I am like, this is reality. Like this is real life stuff. And you think that your life is gonna be easy? It's not. Like everyone has shit they go through, and if you hide it away and pretend like it's not there and cover it up, it's still there. All it's doing is eating your soul from the inside, and it's gonna kill you. I mean, for me, it was gonna kill me.
Well, and the thing is, like, that's the superpower,
Mhm.
right? And I've talked about this many times. But like, my daughter's 7. I'm not so we're not doing everything. Do the evergreen shooting.
Yeah.
Like we talked, we've talked about what happened
Yeah.
to Kurt. Like, I try not to press too much of my own ideologies on them because I really want, like, we pray for them, they know about God, like all of that kind of stuff. But that's my belief system,
Yeah.
right? And they know that there's freedom.
Yeah.
Well, she knows there's freedom in that, right? Explore
Yeah.
that, figure that out for yourself. Ask questions, ask why. Don't bottle your emotions.
Yes.
And I think that's the superpower, right? Like, I probably caused trauma her with the fights with my wife. She's still, and so there's things there that the cool thing about our generation is where we're at is we've had these tools
Yeah.
that our parents
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
have, or they didn't know about. I think that's where I was really released my resentment
Yes.
towards my folks is like, you guys you weren't really prepared.
No, and I think it just depends on the kid too, like combination, right? Like if you need something specific and you don't get it because that's not what they have to give you,
Right.
it just doesn't work out. And so like I try really hard to let my kids kind of guide. I try to like, what do you need? Like I know what I would instinctively give you right now, but like, what do you
Is that what you
need?
want?
Yeah.
And that's
How
the thing that you're meeting them where
Yeah.
they're at, and then you're challenging them to dig a little bit deeper
Yeah.
into their soul, their spirit,
Yeah.
discover who they are.
And I listen. I don't judge them, like
How old's your son?
he's 8. Yeah.
It's just, I see that now with my kids too. Like, dude, my daughter, I told her all about sex.
Ready?
Yeah. She asked me, so I told her the truth. And this was the conversation. She's like, Dad, I understand where
Oh my.
babies come from, but like,
Oh.
and I was like, you know what? That's actually a great question.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? This is an adult conversation, but if you really want to know, I will tell you.
Books for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I was like, I told her, it was like, very biblical,
Yeah.
standpoint on the
Yeah.
whole thing. Like,
Discovery Channel. I mean, the
totally.
animal version.
And I think my wife got pissed because I kind of wanted to do that,
Yeah.
And I was like,
Or at
well,
least
you
like,
should.
yeah.
You should
Yeah.
definitely give
That's
her
the
your
thing. It's
perspective.
not a one and done. Right?
Totally. And that's the thing is,
I always
like,
thought
I
it was.
was ashamed of my sexuality.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
It's very, very basic.
Ashamed about a lot of things though too, not just that, but like
Right.
yeah.
And so it was in my mind, it was like, you're way too young for this. Dude, I was probably 7. But at the same time, they also positioned it in a place of like,
I never had that conversation. I just got told it was bad.
and that's, and so it's just like, I want her to know that, like, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
You have to understand that when you do that, you're giving a piece of yourself away.
Yeah.
Right? You're giving a piece of your heart away.
Yeah.
And that's the part that you need. You need to understand that you have value.
Yeah. I try to talk to them about it. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right?
And I was like, you shouldn't just have sex. You shouldn't just have sex with anybody. Like, these are the ones that conversation. You need to understand your value as a woman. And there is a lot of value. And I was like, if you understand that, then you will require the person that wants your body to understand that as well. And that's the point of it. I don't care if you have sex. That's fine. What I care about is your heart. And what you're doing to your soul by doing it. And so it never occurred to me that
Me neither. No.
It was just
not
like,
even
do you think of
duh.
Dude, your story is amazing, and there's so many things in it that I can relate to. Is there anything else that you want to add to it?
I will say I did battle all of that shit, and I got through all of that shit. I got my divorce finalized in 2022, and I got 50-50 custody out of it. So I did jump through all those hoops, and then I went back to school. I finished my second master's, and yeah, it just like it's crazy how something that feels so detrimental and so life shattering at the time. Like being an alcoholic for me was the worst possible thing that could ever happen. Like I was like, no, that is not me. I thought it was the end of my life, but it actually was the greatest gift that I was ever able to accept it for just to be there. And now, like honestly, I feel like even the things hard times that I'm going through something hard right now with the divorce that's still happening. It's like it doesn't really it doesn't change the course of my path. My path is still there and it's not shaky anymore. Like I can take another step. I feel like, ooh, that was really hard. Like this is really hard right now, but it's not gonna last forever. And as long as I show up like with those values that I now hold like so close, like integrity, honesty, I don't know, like if I'm showing up with those, everything else will be okay. I don't, courage. Yes. Like I don't fear the world anymore. I don't walk through the world in fear.
Do you think that has a lot to do with faith?
A little bit, yeah. I'm not like I'm not like a God person, but I am like an energy person. So like in the mornings when I drop off my daughter, she has volleyball practice at 6:30 in the morning. It's really fun. And so I come home and the sun is rising. And the sun for me, like, is amazing. The sun is the thing that provides life for everyone. power.
Dude,
And
that's
so
what I've
things
always-
like that for me,
yeah,
like, I don't know,
like,
like I'm very,
I've always thought like Native Americans probably are the closest.
yeah, so I'm very like center aligned. I try to align the energy. Doesn't make sense, but
No, it makes a lot of sense too. I mean, it's the same thing as like if I were
yeah.
right, like that
Mhm.
fabric, right? We
Yeah.
talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
There's something
And so clear, yeah, I'm
that
not like
ties it all
a,
together.
I have this, like I went to church as a punishment as a kid because I would get in trouble. So I'm not like an old man in charge of whatever, but like I am not the controller of this universe.
Right.
Like I don't have any control. I have a like one of those, what are those called? Like a plaque in my room
Yeah.
that says I trust the author because I know the author. And basically not me. Like I am not the author, you
Right.
know, like I just gotta go, we just gotta go with it and stop fighting against it and just allow it to be like whatever it is. All I have control over is myself. I
Right.
can't control anything
Yeah.
else. I can control how I show up and how I react and the choices that I make. And so now, like, I make sure that those are how I want them to be. And I take the time to like adjust them if I need to. And I'm very like aware and focused on the things that I'm doing
Yeah.
instead of what everyone else is doing.
And that's so important, because I know that I personally, and through your story, I think you can relate to this. Like, you just put so much value on what other people think, and trying to control the
You know,
outcome.
the lightness of not, oh my God, it's amazing.
And it just builds these like courage, It,
It feels like you're walking on like with those like platform shoes.
yeah,
On the
totally.
clouds, just like, oh my God, like I'm walking down the street. I don't give two shits what you think about me.
Right.
Like I never had that feeling.
Ever.
It's amazing.
Dude, and it's crazy. Even like when COVID started, my wife, so we're in real estate, my wife wanted me to do these videos.
Mhm.
And I was like, dude, I will never be in front of a camera. Like, ever. And now it's like,
Are you on camera right now?
right, yeah, it's like one of the most, and it was completely removed.
Yeah.
And this whole podcast started through what I felt like was a prophetic dream. And so it was just like all of that
Yeah.
was completely removed. And it's fun,
Yeah.
and it's so cathartic
It
to like
feels, if it, yeah. So now, like, so going back to like spiritual, I can feel it.
yes,
Feel if I'm going against it. I can
yes,
feel if I'm starting to mislead or misjudge or be dishonest. You know
yeah,
what I mean? If I'm step over here, I feel it.
yeah,
And I'm like, I call like it's God, right? Like
yeah.
it's God being like, whoa, hello.
Hey, not the
Um,
no,
to like look at that. And instead of then I can stop and be like, what's going on here? Like,
yeah.
what is this feeling? And
I
where is it
still
coming from? And how do I,
struggle with that. And I think that's I have to constantly remind myself that God speaks to me. And so it's like the other day, like literally, I struggle so much.
yeah.
And I was like so pissed. And it came through to this environment of like, I wasn't giving her what she wants. She was
So
like,
the,
fine, I'm not
but
going to
the
help you anymore.
steps have taught me how to deal with that kind of stuff too,
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, why am I getting hit? Like, where is this anger coming
Exactly.
from? Like, what is it I'm angry about?
And all of it, you're challenging me, dude. Like,
Well, yeah, it's
and it's
because
like, I don't like that.
I'm not getting what I want
Right.
or I'm scared of losing what I have.
Totally.
Those are the two things.
Yep. So, and then the more I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, you are a child.
Yeah.
Like, what are you? Why are you mad?
You guys are all children. Sorry.
No, I totally agree.
I'm just joking.
I agree with you.
But like, I'll
Are you
just,
kidding me, dude?
I recently filed paperwork because my ex-husband hasn't paid me a penny in over a year. He owes me over $100,000. He has fucked up my whole credit because I'm still on everything. The house, I'm still on it. All the business loans, I'm still on it. I am like $500,000 in debt because of him, which is all his responsibility in the divorce, right? He's not paying shit. So I filed paperwork for that. He also sucks at parenting, so he doesn't take Jax is late to school every single day. He's been left at school for over 30 minutes at the end of the day. Like he doesn't show up. So I filed paperwork to get my kids a week, and he gets them every other weekend, and he lives. And so it's funny because this whole thing, like my whole story that I just told you, has been thrown right back in my face. Like it happened last night. Like it is like, I'm gonna make sure everybody knows what a piece of shit you are, and you're never having tickets from you, and you're never gonna see him again. And it's like, whoa, like 4 years have passed, and I know that's not a lot of time, but
Yeah, that's a good amount of time.
but I'm at a whole different place in my life right now to where that for me wasn't yesterday.
Right.
And so to have it all thrown right back in your face, all of the things that I did, all of, like all of the specific things that I've done, it's like bizarre. So it was kind of crazy to sort of relive. I feel like I'm back in deja vu 4 years ago, going through it all over again. So it's one of those things that doesn't just go away. Like you see a lot of people in recovery who are like, "Ooh, I'm sober now. Like it's better," but it's like always gonna be there. It's always gonna be there.
And that's, I don't know, necessary.
I do too.
The good thing about that, right? Like you start all that out is, but like you've said,
So and then you question,
that's where it's like you have no control.
and that's where I'm like, you know what? Well, I have showed up in the way that I want to show up, and now I'm also not going to sit here and take your shit because now you're acting this way. So I'm going to take an action. And now it's like, if the court said that you are a fit parent, great. Then let's fucking make some changes. If they decide you're not, that's on you. Like that's Scott. I mean, you can sit and attack all you want, but
Well, it's just insecurities, and yeah, that's the control. Yeah. I mean, I'll be praying for it, and
thank
we'll
you.
be
I like actually do appreciate that. Thanks.
That's what this is all about, right? Is building a community, and that was the most important thing to me, I think. It's like 90 days,
Well, knowing you're not alone.
And that's just the community piece of it. Can you imagine doing like 300 sober?
I literally thought I was the worst piece of shit. Like I really thought that. I was like, nobody has ever done anything that's as bad as what I've done. I am a horrible, horrible human. I don't deserve anything good. All I do is ruin things and light shit on fire. Like, don't come near me because I will fuck up your life too. That's how I felt. And just knowing that that wasn't really the case, like that we all make mistakes, and like, yeah, just knowing you're not alone in that is there's really powerful.
Yeah, and understanding that, there's room for, and there's room because we are all flawed.
Days about and be like, oh my God, no, wait, let me tell you this part.
My wife and I, like some of our friends, because it's like,
you probably are.
Well, 100%, dude. And like, I've called her a bitch in like joking mode.
Yeah.
And so the other night she's like, dude, literally, my friends are like, if my husband ever said that to me in any form whatsoever, and I'm like, really?
Oh, that's it? Because I've way worse.
I was like, do you feel that way? Like, no, you know how many times you said that to me?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, first of all, let's make sure that there's like a parallel here, because how many times have you said it to me?
Oh my God, you did say that, didn't you?
100%.
You would.
Yeah, no, it's like, I don't know, we tip for chat.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the end of the day, like, she knows how much I love her, and
good.
Yeah, and it's our relationship. I put this. Our relationship is one tiny piece of it is, but the other.
See, that's what I always wanted. I had these expectations. Like, you can't expect. Like, and so I've learned a lot about expectations, right? Like to see things for what they are instead of or what I want them to be or what I think they should be. Like, that's on me. 'Cause that's not reality.
So, is there anything else you want to add to your story?
No,
That's an incredible
I
story.
can tell you some of those crazy stories.
Here, I've got some too, but
I
so
think we're good. I don't know.
one thing we always ask at the end of every episode is, what's the biggest piece of advice that you would give to listeners?
You should have asked me that like before so I could think of something good. Because mine has to be the best, you know? Like,
Right.
my advice has to be better than anyone
So we
else's.
can,
I'm kidding.
there could be more than one.
Yeah. Well, I don't really know. My biggest piece of advice is that,
Maybe your biggest takeaway from your
yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice is that you can. Like, it doesn't matter how far down you think you are, you can. You can do it. And whatever it is looks different, right? But like, I used to be I used to make myself small, because I didn't think, my mom would be like, well, you're not gonna be like, a famous singer or whatever. So let's just go for the like small dream, like the reasonable thing, right? Like the realistic. And like there's power in that, I guess, but like I made myself small and invisible and like didn't want to cause a scene or draw any attention, but like and so I just never thought I could do things. I never had confidence. I never thought that I was capable of doing anything. And so those little things though, they start adding up. Like I did get sober. I've been sober almost 4 years. I did get my kids back.
That's a wild thought to think about.
I know. And I'm not scared of doing stuff anymore. Are they still scary? Yes, for sure. And like I gotta like set myself up, right? Like sometimes, like, and I actually have another plaque in my kitchen. I've got these weird plaques all over my house. It's like a cool house, but it literally says you can do this. And like I swear, I look at it like 10 times a day, and I say it in my brain. I'm like, you can do this.
Yeah.
Like you can.
Yeah.
You can do this. It freaking works. It's weird.
It's crazy, dude.
And then I do it, and I'm like, holy shit, I can do it. I just did it.
What you focus on becomes your reality.
Yeah.
So if you're focusing on, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah. Or
you're gonna
like
be
I
a piece of
can't do
shit.
that because this, that, or the other, or I'm too scared to do that. That's the real truth. It's like I'm too
It's
scared of it.
funny. Got this thing, like I won this award in business. But one of the questions they asked me was, if you could go back and give your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be? And I sat there for probably 30 minutes, and I finally just started writing stuff. And if I had to go back and tell myself anything, it would be to not put so much value on what other people think of your ideas.
Mine would be, I love you.
That's awesome.
Like you're loved.
And I put so much value on what other people thought going on in my brain.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
And it's just stifled.
Yeah. You're like, you walk into a room and you're like, where am I in this? Like,
Right. Just wipe all this away.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would tell myself, look, crazy idea, and the more that people are like, oh, the better it is.
I mean,
like that's best ideas come.
Yeah.
And so that would be my piece of it.
It's funny because, like, sorry, when you see it in your kids, like my daughter is very in that place right now of like, oh, I don't want to, like, I can't wear that to school or this person thinks that. And I'm like, who cares? Like, it sounds so bizarre coming from someone else to where it like really makes you realize how silly it is.
Do you think you can tell her that and she'll understand it, or do you think she needs to go
Maybe
through
we're
the
working on it. I mean,
experience?
she'll have to go through all of it. But at the same time, like, I'm so open and available for her that whatever she wants to talk about or not talk about, like, I will support those kids no matter what. If they turn it, like if they walk my path, I'll be there. If they don't, I'll be there. I don't know. If the worst possible thing, whatever it is, happens, I will fucking be there. And I don't I mean, like, I was
Huge.
That's
That's
it.
huge. I mean, I think there's a lot of advice in that. Show up.
As best.
I love your story. So proud of you for where you're at today. I know you still have your battles, but we're here to support you through what you're going through, and send you an invite to the
Please do.
next week. Ezra will be there. Hopefully she's going to help. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for your vulnerability. I know we didn't really touch on our pillars, but I challenge you guys to attribute all 6 pillars to something in your story because they're all absolutely. Just think about it. Try to listen to this story and find the vulnerability, right? Find the personal accountability. I mean, it's all there, right? That usually happens through, right? But then it continues to happen throughout your life. The onset for sure.
Yeah, I think will is what I know.
Yeah. And then building a community, and if it's like, if you don't want to go be a part of it, create something for yourself and your peers or your people around you that makes sense to you. Well, we're going to wrap up this episode with Andrea. I'm so grateful that you were willing to come in here and do this. So thank you again. To the listener, thank you guys for everything. I hope this impacts you guys in some kind of positive way. Obviously, Aaron and I are always available to chat with you guys. Andrea would be willing as well. Anybody that we've had on our podcast, really, if you're struggling, reach out to somebody, get them help. Just help you understand how to move forward. So we love you guys. We appreciate everything. We'll see you next week.